felt this way so long, yeah. Giving me signals, but sometimes I'm getting them wrong. I ain't gonna lie, little too bad, she got to bone. You stuck in my dome, but don't fake, am I wrong? Like some of your love, like I'm not pressed, am I wrong? When you're not cheap, when I get you single, am I wrong? You wanna run away from the truth every time you know you're wrong. That's why you say choose me, but your physique, am I wrong? Like some of your love, like I'm not pressed, am I wrong? When you're not cheap, when I get you single, am I wrong? You wanna run away from the truth every time you know you're wrong. That's why you say choose me, but your physique, am I wrong? Yeah, money, siwezi hakuna money. Yeah, chuki natoka wapi? I put my money in the bank so nobody get it, but she throw it away. I got time, I can't nakutaka bali so I just throw it away. Safi, to get you in the mood. Pull up, the magic happens in my mood. There's a couple things I wanna do to you, but am I in my head? I really thank God for the air you breathe, the way you put the angels whenever you sleep. I got love for you, but you just can't see. But I don't blame you, but it is what it is. Just like a dog on a leash, whenever you call me, you know I'm at peace. Someone had to say eventually, I don't fake, am I wrong? Like some of your love, like I'm not pressed, am I wrong? When you're not cheap, when I get you single, am I wrong? You wanna run away from the truth every time you know you're wrong. That's why you say choose me, but your physique, am I wrong? Like some of your love, like I'm not pressed, am I wrong? When you're not cheap, when I get you single, am I wrong? You wanna run away from the truth every time you know you're wrong. That's why you say choose me, but your physique, am I wrong? Even I'm here now, I don't wanna feel this way, no man on a jump, already I'm gone. Everybody tryna tell me you're the one, but you're the one. Tell me if you're done, kuni bondaya, niku bon. Mali nakuja sai, lazima nichome picha baby. If you don't tell me shit, nitenda Johnny should be crazy. Mintu kuchapanisha stingo mingi, siko lazy. Unasema na kucheza, ona wapi jayzi. Na mintu kufuata, mimi ni artist baby, yes they wanna have my number. Mintu play a drip, chini ya maji, chini ya waba. Ukiwa shaki kwela, nitakubali, uko na rada bana. So nicha
umekunja uso. Umekula nini? It's wrong, eh? Si mzuri. Am I wrong? But welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Tubonge. Yeah. Right here on the Black on Fire Network. It's the one and only Camlish.
Condition is a control your camera.
Oh yeah, sure.
Kanda yako.
Hapana, wewe shika. Nikwekee wapi? Yenye iko kando yangu. Plants a new whatever today. Chooses not to. Anyway, welcome to the Black on Fire Network. What a nice, weirdly not cold Wednesday.
You just tap in where we are, that's all. And yourself. There. Good to go.
Sheskia nakupatia quick setup alafu mimi naendanga. Sinaweza. Yeah. So ni finger work, yeah. It's finger work, people. So anyway, welcome to a surprisingly not sunny, not cold Wednesday. July imekuja na mazuri, kajua. Yeah, ili kulana nje. It is too warm. You know, but how y'all doing?
Fabulous. Gorgeous. Excited for July? Hey.
Yeah? Why?
What do you mean why? Because you're supposed to be excited. And I'm alive, right? Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
You're healthy.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just asking. Yeah.
Looking forward to a lot of things. Why
Yeah.
not?
Unajua hata kunywa kasupu si mbaya.
Right?
In July. Yeah. So like be thankful in kunywa supu.
Yeah, having a cup of coffee at the office, like, you know.
Yeah.
That's a blessing. I'm good. Grateful, as always. Nothing much to say. I'm just grateful, literally. And of course, enjoying every day at a time. Ready for July as well. Yeah.
Fine. How are you?
I'm good.
You sure?
No, I'm good. Niko fiti.
Okay. Yeah,
Just a bad flu, but I'm okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like flus
We
are
need
nasty.
sanitizer in this office because especially when someone has flu, touching everything, so we need to be sanitizing things around.
Okay.
Because I'm sure hapa kuna mtu atakuwa na flu probably next. Because that mouse is being touched by everyone. So is that dog.
Okay. Bado uko sawa.
I'm alright. Yeah.
Like, by the way, you're such a soldier, by the way. Like, if I was sounding like that,
Yeah.
I'd be blankets, being a very big
Nashangaa
baby.
mnasema joto gani? I feel cold.
Wallahi. Singena kucheki, MJ, sawa.
I feel cold.
No, wewe ni the juice.
I know.
With your one glove.
I know.
Yeah, but hey, ease up, bro. It hits the best of us at some point in life.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
10 days. You know how
Like 10 or
10 days?
7?
Oh no,
7 days?
it's just too many.
I think 10 days or 7 days.
Lilio,
The cold.
for me,
Anybody?
I don't know. I'm gonna take hadi like 3 weeks.
7 days you're fine.
Hi. Calling me cycle.
But I'm gonna be better.
Yeah.
On meds, yeah.
Anyone who like fly ukakunja sura.
Ginger shots.
Ginger shots. Lord forbid that we have to ever take ginger shots in life.
No.
Unless ziko na lemon.
It has lemon too.
How are you? What?
I'm doing great, E. Yeah, I had something to say, but I actually like your hair.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to say something about ginger people,
Oh, okay.
but then I revised it. I was like, YouTube might take that and go like hate speech, but it's funny.
Alright.
But you know, like people nowadays have lost their sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know,
They're
and
not
it,
too serious about the reality.
yeah, and it's sad
It's
because
so normal.
yeah, it's sad because yeah, sometimes utapata like some jokes from when we were kids in like the shows we watched. They were so funny but so racially or
I get it.
look centered or because like the character is the character, right? But now if you make those jokes, they won't fly anymore
But Cat Williams is really good on that.
because that's Cat Williams.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's Cat Williams.
Yeah.
That man can do no wrong. It's like when he made a joke about cereal and smoking, that Herb and him being the same height as his son, who's 10.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway. So we start off today's conversation
Okay.
with a whole notion of why is it that people that come to Nairobi make it and people that are born in Nairobi rarely make it in Nairobi? Why do you think that is, guys? Like,
Because they've gone through it. Not all
people
of
in
them.
Kanairo go through it as well.
Like really through it.
Trust me, Kanairo can
Not-
take you through it.
I get it, but not the way sometimes. Sometimes, not all people who are not born in Nairobi also. It means that like, they're not coming from a place of wealth and abundance. It's a fact.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Which is not a fact really.
it is a fact.
Pesa mingi koocha.
Yes,
Ni venye
true.
watu hawajui.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You get?
Mm.
But people have this notion of Nairobi that it's
Right,
like the promised land and everything. And you always find that people that come to Nairobi end up doing way better than people that are born in
Yeah,
Nairobi.
I agree.
You know, and it's a very weird thing. Sijui kam- Hey, Judge. Oh. It's somewhere here, I think. But you find that most times like I do wanna jituma be different. It's like they're here on a mission. Get and then mtu mwenye alizaliwa huku, it's like they have this sort of laxity around
and comfort.
And comfort. Yeah. So I want us to discuss as you know, one of our first talking points of the day, like why do you think that is? And is it something that can be sorted out? Or is it just the facts of life?
Personally, I think it's arguable.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's, I can't say 50-50, but I've also seen people from Nairobi who have actually just made it in life. But I feel like wase waocha wanategemea unaweza umetoka ushago, like kila mshago, like I don't know, there's that perspective, like you know what has actually brought you to the city, and you know it's hustling. And most of the times coming from families, maybe African families, maybe there's black tax and stuff like that. Kuna tu vitu mingi. Mtoto wangu, I don't know, it's a thing. Mtoto wangu akotao anafanya hivi na hivi. There's a lot of expectations back at home. So most definitely the work they put in unapata ni more. And that's why at a certain point they tend to actually make it. Or rather they tend to actually get it better. But I'm not also saying to mwenye amezaliwa Nairobi hajui pia kuhustle. But I feel like kule msaushago there is a lot of expectations from home, that's why.
Can you pull the question again, Kamlesh? It was more focused.
So people that come to Kanai, they tend to like have more drive or wanaomoka kuliko watu wenye wamezaliwa Kanai. And hadi ukiona unajua watu wanasawingi ya Diona alikuja Kanai Rinto hata Jalas alikuja Kanai, you get, and you find that even with the same opportunities the Nairobi people don't tend to do as well.
I agree to disagree.
Okay.
Because I think looking at both ends, it depends, just like what Shumani said, it depends where you're coming from, usually your background. You know, maybe you're coming from a stable financial background, that's why you're comfortable. So even if you, let's say, umezaliwa Ocha, even if you come to the city, life is still gonna be easy for you because you got people you can call back and they're gonna come through for you. If you look at the people born in Nairobi in places like, let's say, Kibera, Madare, like slums, even middle life, literally. Because there's a time I was discussing about middle life, and you look at the Shatuki, he mentioned it, and I tried to make it a topic, but our internet was misbehaving. But you look at someone who's living a middle life, means to earn from 23,000 to 100K, and looking at the taxes and everything, pay school fees, pay rent, nini, still 100K in today's economy is not something enough. It's not an enough amount of money, being honest. So it depends where you're coming from, you know. If you've grown up with struggles of life, you want to push, and if you also have exposure, because I feel like that comes, you wanting to learn so much in life comes with exposure. The more you're exposed to different things, utataka have a different life. Because we've seen people who are in slums, but they still literally, they're gonna marry there, they're gonna have kids there, their kids are gonna have kids there, get married there. It's a cycle that is never broken because there's lack of exposure. So I think, again, yes, it's arguable, literally. Depends where you're coming from. What's your background first? I think that's the first picture you should have. Where do you come from?
Just to add on that, inasemangwa eti ukitoka, if you stay at home in the same environment ya home, unakuanga tu super comfortable. Unaget. And then the mwenye atakuwa natoka away from home kutafuta better life of exposure, they tend to actually get better. So it's just the same way. The same when ametoka Ocha, ametoka home, ametoka from comfortability. Unajua amekuja tao. Maybe there is no relatives, maybe the relatives are not welcoming. Ni yeye tu peke yake. So he has to actually try to make it. So I feel like you're paying and push. But most of the time ukirudi home, when you grow up now wako tu hapo, unapata wanatend to live the same life. When watu live, hakuna, the same thing. Mpaka unapata maisha yake na babake ni same. There is nothing better. Ama maybe kama babake alikuwa hivi, it just ends up to be something like that. Unajua, so akura, but somebody mwenye ametoka from home anasema mimi nimechoka. Hata tuseme tu like kwenu maybe ni Kayole, umetoka umeenda Lang'ata ama umekuja Rongai, you tend inakaa different. Lakini ukienda ukapata ule tu mse wa home unapata the same lifestyle. So that is also a factor.
Same friends.
Yeah, same friends, same thing. Yani unaenda tu home, hadi ukienda home saa hizi unapata tu like what is really happening.
And making it worse, I think, which I've seen literally, especially I think during 2020, I think people connected a whole lot more. You know, people are also like interacting a lot. As much as people on a lockdown, Juana Sana, it was a lot of house parties. A friend is gonna take it to a friend. This friend you've known from maybe from this circle, you're gonna know someone else from there. Like I think for me, that's the kind of exposure I had during pandemic, and also talking to people and understanding where they're coming from. I remember that this guy I met in 2020, and alikuwa amezaliwa Ocha, amekam Nairobi. Looking at also the mindset, because we're talking about the drive, right? Like how young are you willing to go to get to success? We're talking about what we are ghetto, looking at where you're coming from. You should have the drive, but the people are comfortable. Unamtupia kwa Ocha, ametoka from a good family, ako sawa, but kuna mwenye atakuja Nairobi, they want to take back, like Shmani is saying, like, you know, you want to feed back to your family. But if you're also not looking at black taxes, you want to build yourself, probably. But also there is, I think, let me say, mindset, because if you look at the both ends, you're talking about Nairobi and urban and rural, right? Urban and rural. So, you know, there's different mindsets in both the communities. There's in rural areas, kuna mtu atatoka Ocha akuja Nairobi, and their mindset is, I just wanna achieve, have a family and settle, and that's where they remain stagnant. Now they're stuck in this not even middle life. I'd say in a certain sort of poverty type of state. You're not poor, but you're not also okay. You're stuck somewhere in between. Unangangana. Uko somewhere Mathare kwa kanyumba, maybe one bedroom na unaishi fiti. Because the mindset you had is, you wanna come to the city, so long as umepata hiyo ganji kidogo, and then you live in also according to societal community's expectation. By this age I need to get married, I need to have kids. It gets, you're caught up with it, and then you end up becoming another generation that has failed in the city. So your retirement, bado itarudi Ocha, na utarudi Ocha bila shit. And I'm speaking facts because also I've seen it, being honest, also in, I'd say, in my family, my dad's family. I look at all of them, wamegroya Ocha, so wamekuja to Nairobi to make it in life. But you look at, what are you making? Like all these years umekuwa hapa, what is it you do for yourself? What is it that you can leave for a retirement benefit for your children or your wife? For me, looking at it, there's nothing they have done. Starting from the mkubwa to mdogo, there's nothing they have done. And it is something that's made me question literally, and looking at that mindset. Wase wengi wanaweza toka Ocha na narrative ya could thrive, utajenga nyumba ina make sense back at home, or buy a land somewhere, securing the life of your family. So long as maybe you're hustling in Nairobi, you are sure of, in case something happen hapa, niko na mali nitaenda nikae bila kulipa rent. So most of the people don't have that mindset. They get lost in, get married, have children, and even gets worse in, you start cheating even on your wife. Now you have different baby mamas, you have different families to take care of. So you're stuck in that, literally you're, according to me, you're poor. Looking at and understanding, and understanding literally how lifestyle is supposed to be. You're poor, you know, you just are. You are a man living on hand to mouth, and that's just the truth. And that's majority, if you look at it also, especially our older generation of parents. Wengi wenye wametoka Ocha, wamekuja Nairobi. Trust me, unaishi Mathare, Huruma. It's just the fact. You're stuck somewhere where you can't say you're rich or you're poor, but you're not either. You don't even start in the middle class, but you're not doing okay in life. You're the type of person to live actually on loans, or you're living on black tax of calling your families to, keep on sending you money because you failed, you wasted your time. Let me just say, you wasted your time or used the time vibaya. Yeah.
Alafu hao wasi wa Nairobi tafadhali, I don't know, mimi nilikuwa naona this is something I've seen in Nyanza. I don't know if it happens everywhere. Unapata huko Nairobi they live like, might not be so lavish, get, yes, just middle. Let's say for example Nyayo, whatever, Nyayo estate, I'm up for 2 fedha, whatever. And then sikiakwenda home hakuna chochote na nyumba. Hana chochote, alafu jona hakuna, mimi nimetoka Nairobi. Mentality wanakuja, ana haya gari.
Show off.
Show off. Oh my God. Show off to the far. Eti ana haya gari aende home. Ana save like, maybe anasema I'm going to home during December. Ana save like maybe 30k. Yeah, kuhaya gari for 1 week, kwenda tu kushow fufala, kufanya shopping. Ya hiyo time, alafu anarudi kusurvive huku, unajua. Hiyo savings zake zote ameenda kupleasea watu huko ushago. Eti yeye ni mtu wa Nairobi and he'll make it in life. But there is nothing to show. When you go home, siku zenye wanazikwa, kuna mtu akona nyumba, anaenda anazikwa, maybe anazikwa Lang'ata, ama tu akona kanyumba kadogo, my relatives wanaenda kumjengea nyumba tani ya kuzikwa. And this is somebody with maybe even 2 wives. It is embarrassing. Because there is this mentality, I'm from the city. You're from the city, what have you achieved in the city?
And what about it?
And so what?
Yeah.
Because they've seen smart ones, they go, they also some that they go, they invest and they go home.
Yeah, true.
Unajua hata kama si kujenga shamba, akona mabiashara, akona shamba pahali. There's something you're doing.
True.
But at the end of the day, most of them unapata tu hapo tao, they're living like kesho tutakula. So long as tumeishi watoto wameshaenda shule. Watoto wakishaenda shule, there's nothing. You live, you pay rent, and then most of them don't have homes here in town.
That is true.
We cannot see a lot of people wamejenga in Nairobi town. A few people wamejenga. Let's say in a ratio of even like 100%, let's say even maybe 15% they wako na homes. A lot of people don't. A lot of people are living on rentals, which are expensive. Mtu ana earn 70k anataka kuishi kwa nyumba ya 50k. And just to, and then huna shit. Na kuna watoi wanafaende shule, wako high school and stuff like that. I feel like mentality is just crazy. There's your mentality, I want to show off so much, but there's nothing, literally.
And also no one cares.
And no, literally.
You forget like nobody cares.
You're alone.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because now get into trouble, hata mabestako watawa hata kusaidia.
It's a fact.
So it becomes a really huge problem. Mentality pia inafaa ikuwe ina change. Because unaringia watu wako ushago na yeye amezoea kuishi, akona food kila siku, akona kwake. Hiyo time ulikuwa umetoka shajenga nyumba yake, akona mawe vizuri, huko tao una sell. Like
I think people forget the drive. That drive and motive actually just oozes out. And you're so excited
you
to
get
go
comfortable.
Yes. And also maybe I wouldn't even blame on the wrong company, but you allowing like wrong company to influence you. Maybe, honestly. But you should never forget the reason why you started anything or the reason why you're doing anything. Never forget that.
Always remember why. Why is very important.
The why.
You know, and it's something I've also seen, like, it's not necessarily culture, but when you're from a background that makes you, that doesn't have much to offer, you find yourself with a reason why you want to get that job, you won't tire easily as someone who doesn't have that why. And it's something very important that should be observed, and parents should learn to teach their kids how to find their own why. Like, why are you doing
I think my observation is, I think I learned this especially last year when I went back to my folks. And I saw and bumped into so many of my high school mates who are still stuck there. People I've grown up with who are still stuck there. Actually, wameoa, kuna watoto. And then also listening to the mindset of so many people who are talking to me. So, literally, that's why mindset is really, 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 really important. It's really, really important. I feel like people have, and I'm talking about now both communities, rural and urban. Kuna mtu ako comfortable na bora I have a job, I can pay rent, I can afford food. The rest venye sijui stories are 1 bedroom nini mi bora niko na mboka kila like I've really seen that, being honest. There's someone who utaenda penye ulimwacha hadi waleo kwa ile nyumba ya mabati they live in, and I'm talking about now the slums, being honest, because there are, especially let's say people who live on inheritance, inheritance. I'm gonna talk about, you know, the Huruma flats, right? The Huruma flats was funded by the government, if I'm not wrong. And I've seen people when you're wamegrow hapo, wamelelewa hapo, their elder sisters wameolewa kuna watoto, but the man doesn't want to leave the house because he's expecting and waiting for the parents to die so that they can inherit this house.
I've heard of that.
I've seen this also now. Sasa in the Huruma flats, at least it's in nyumba za mawe. Now in the slums, we're talking about also inheritance. No, it's imeandikwa kwa nini yenu. I think sijui nakwanga hizi nyumba za gava, I don't know zinakwanga zimeandikwa
mortgage.
Something like that, I don't know. But I know it was, and it's just a generational whatever that is gonna go on for so long. Unless gava yamwe kuchukua that whole land now, so watasuffer later. But for now, literally if you were there during that particular time of all these arguments, it favors your whole generations. So I've seen also that in the slums. Unapata nika cube fulani ka nyumba, let's say 5. Sawa, na mwenyewe, let's say ya 6 ni ya mwenyewe anakaa hapo. Hapo na watoto. Yes, of course ni bigger. Za wale wengine utapata labda ni single rooms. Mostly it's single rooms, especially nyumba za mabati. It's single rooms or double room. Children are gonna grow older there. They're women are gonna give birth there. Grandchildren are gonna grow there. And this is because they're waiting for this other generation to pass out so ndo wagawane mali. Like it's just so crazy. Like
that's really weird.
I feel like there's a society that's, or the type of mindset also where people are just comfortable with, so long as mimi nakula, I have a roof, vitu zingine. These are the people we will tell about the government that are like politics are cheer politicians. They don't give a shit because they have what is so important to them, which is a roof, food, and they can be able to cater, like vitu zingine zinaweza kuwa be able to be catered for, so long as they have that means of providing for that whatever bill that is supposed to be paid for. Now the hecticness I think comes in with education, because school fees is expensive. Okay, this is why you find most of the generation from this group actually is not educated, or they are dropouts. They are dropouts, and then because you're a dropout, I mean you don't have certificates to show, especially according to this system. You know, and if you can't bribe your way out, when you get Joakali again goes back to that mindset. I'm 30, I need to get married as a man. I need to have a wife and a kid. You know, as a woman, you're 25. Oh, I'm getting older. The society is judging me. You know, so it's so crazy. So if you look at it from a bigger, wider perspective, it's just a whole mixed up of narratives, mindsets, emotions, and everything.
Okay. Because that's a very good way to look at it. But have you all ever thought about it like this? Imagine coming from a wealthy family.
Okay.
Do you know what it takes to stand out?
It takes a lot. It takes being, it takes number one being, you're talking about a wealthy family. Because I've not been, my mom's side, I'd say some of my mom's side aunties really come from a generation of wealth, and I used to see how they used to treat people, bro. Yeah, if you're talking about money, I think if you're talking about understanding power, I learned a lot from that. Not in a bad way, but also in a good way. In a bad way and in a good way. Depends how you want to use it. It comes with a lot. Number one, there's never happiness a lot in those families. There is, but it's very occasional. There's a lot of business there's a lot of business set in there, like everything kinaendelea kwa hii family ni money.
It's something
okay, and you're all being put on how to just make money. All right,
that's true. And there's like, something you said that's so interesting. It takes a lot to be wealthy and happy.
Exactly.
Like, and it takes understanding you, because and unless That's why I can't remember who, but somebody said this, yeah? Like money don't bring happiness. But I won't tell you about it. I hope you get your own so that you know. You get. And it actually magnifies more negative traits than positive. Like if you're not conscious about it. And that's why most people, you'll never hear this person was cruel, got money, became very kind. Okay? It's always like the really kind people, and when they make money, they're still kind. And even most of them lose that kindness because they now start perceiving every relation as monetary. You get? So, there's struggles from every facet of the spectrum, because the struggle of the child coming from a wealthy family is, how do I make my successful parents notice me and what I'm doing, what I like?
There's that struggle.
How
can you keep that?
Yeah, because you can be doing great by everybody else's standards, but not by your parents' standards. They're like, I expect more from you. How come you haven't done this? Listen, there's a plan for some investment. I need about 4 million from you. See now, what? You don't want to invest. They don't even look at it like, you might not have that money. Not like, yeah, na yona like unakata. We're like, no, see now, how come you think I got it the way you got it? And then they grade their kids a lot. There's always like the favorite, okay? And it's a very, there's a skit on Family Guy where Peter becomes very wealthy. Then when the kids ask him, Dad, are you going to change? He's like, I will now treat you like a wealthy father. Okay?
Right.
Then now you have to do tricks for my approval. Chris becomes a scholar, Meg takes up music, all for their father's amusement. And then they come do performances and they're like, I'm not impressed. I think you will not inherit the estate when I die. And wealthy parents always dangle that like in their kids' faces, like on every child's face. Like, are you good enough?
And which is what I want to pose that, okay? Just to pose it, because now going back to what I'm saying, there's people with the drive and then they lose it because now you're put up in the community expectations, family, yourself expectations, whatever, because you also fell for the propaganda and everything. You know, nakumbuka budangu akiniambia it's funny because now, after understanding everything and looking at what I was dealing with from a generation that has not built anything that I can look up to, I understood a lot. And that was in high school, man. I think, shout out to my brains, I guess, you know, because losing, I think, one significant of your parent, especially who matters to you, opens your eyes in a bigger perspective.
That's true.
Think about your future, alright? Those are the calculations that were always in my mind. My future. Do I really have someone to depend on here economically? Hell no. Because I'm looking at, what generational wealth have you built? Your father failed too. He almost, like, I'm sorry. Your father.
That is like a generational diss.
Like, I'm just saying the truth, you know.
Generationally, you're a failure.
Facts have
So
to
what
be
am I
spoken,
waiting for?
Alright? People barely speak facts of why we have the problems we have. And me, I'm gonna say it.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with my stories. My grandfather failed to build generational wealth. He almost did. But the kids on the path, if they had the right maybe knowledge or whatever, but they also failed. Came to Nairobi, what we're saying, because if you come to Nairobi, number one, there's connections. There's connections. If you come to Nairobi, there's connections. Alright, let's continue. If you come to Nairobi, there's connections. Of course, people believe you're gonna make money, and of course, you're supposed to make money so long as you're here. You know. So I remember one day siku moja aliniambia ati where you are among the children when you, I think if I can remember correctly, it was me or my brother. One of my brother who we look alike, like to the same age. See, one of you, one of us will not be able to get inheritance from him because we don't look like we have anything to give to him. And then the question that ran through my mind was, uko na nini ya kunipea?
Right.
Because you don't have land to claim. And if you have land to claim, is all the way back for babako.
Right.
As a woman, I can't go back,
True.
according to culture, go back to my grandparents and claim land. You know, I'm supposed to inherit something from my father. So ukiniambia chenye nafaa kuinherit, tutapigania biashara ya jeans hapa. Unaniambia mimi I have nothing to inherit from you. You know, I'm not saying it sarcastically, but also trying to make people understand, like, because we've lived with that sana. Unasikia mzazi akikuthreaten sijui because they're paying school fees, you know, imposing all that black tax bullshit. What have you done yourself? Because you expect so much from me. Can we look at how did you use your time? Because this is my time. I'm supposed to build myself, okay? I'm supposed to help you when I can, alright? It's not supposed to be a forceful thing, like, what will you find nini? Because me, that's where I have the mindset, like, literally avoiding everything that I have avoided. I look at it like, what did you do with your time?
Right.
Why should I feel guilty for you not using your time well?
Yeah. And that's something as well
know?
that
That pressure should definitely.
Because
literally be
if you look at
straight
our
off.
parents, actually, times of economy, it was cheaper than now.
Yeah, that's a fact.
It was cheaper than now. If it is lands, you could get it. If you had time to save, lands is costing that for probably 300,000. You know, half a million. Kuna zenye ziko, yes.
Yeah.
You know, and this we're talking about acres. Sisa acre, ama half a acre. So, what did you guys do with your time?
no, 300 Kenyan aid.
You see?
So actually, I feel like now looking at both the communities, rural and urban,
Like
to fight
what
poor, no one should be
capital
feeling
is.
better than any other. You know, no one should be feeling better than the other.
Yeah.
The person actually should be feeling better than the other is someone who's coming from the village, because especially if you have land to still claim, you can go back and farm. You can go back and build your house of your dreams.
Just
You have the
a quick,
materials and the resources.
just a quick
Mtu
sound
wa
bite.
Nairobi, hii shamba la mawe, unanunua nyumba kwa kina nani Uhuru? Ama nani?
Niliona ni fulani ikisema Buda uko 50 na unasema siku moja itajipa. Wewe siku zako zishaisha bana.
Like,
Not
please.
really. It's possible.
It is possible, but
No,
in
but
turn,
Buda bado
Kama
unasema
the
siku moja
connections uko
katajipa.
nazo.
Ni kidogo, but it's possible.
What connections do you have to make this
Katajipa
possibility?
siku moja.
It's okay.
Kama akajajipa in 50 years.
Have you not?
Maybe you had to relearn and learn.
Here, the charger. Here.
You are the one derailing your own process.
Ah, pana. Check. Unaweza
Now you're
pata.
good. You're
No.
ready.
No.
Yes.
Kama kalikuwa kajipe kangejipa kitambo. And
Really?
that's a very simple thing that we all have to
Ile base ya pale OTC pale wanauzanga Masai shoes and viatu za shule panaitangwa aje? If you guys know the place.
hapo kwa zile
Umepatiwa?
yeah
Ukiingia ndo ingie Juja Road.
yeah
Hiyo roundabout iko hapo like
Yeah.
Maana ka traffic ndo ingie.
Yeah.
I don't know panaitwaje, but they sell like mostly viatu za shule and Masai shoes, like cheap
Yeah.
price. I remember I went there, I think nikiwa form 2, form 3. I was really shocked. The age gap of people I was finding there. It's really old people. It's really, really old people. People you're supposed to be saying, supposed to be on retirement, let your kid take over. But it's the people who are there. You know? So it makes you question, like, kama wewe kwa hapa, mtoto wako ako wapi? You know, that's what you're talking about. So 50, and these are, because I'd say 50 today looks old because of, number one, lack of taking care of yourself. People are not living good health, like good lifestyles. You know, good lifestyle literally itakufanya, let's be honest, glow, utakaa fiti, ukula fiti, having your 3 meals a day, or even eating some fruits in between, utakaa poa, like for real. But mtu anampata anakunywa strugi na ugali lala jana, you know, and that they're thankful for that. I'm not saying like I've been there, you know, you're grateful for that, you know. lunch uskip ama ukose
Yeah,
kukula
true.
maybe ni githeri sapa ukose kukula ama save lunch ndo kule
Yeah, true.
sapa like it's you look at these people, they're really skinny, they look aged, and it's really they're skinny because you're not eating healthy every single day. You don't have 3 meals a day like the rest of the people.
Yeah.
Ama watu wengi wanaweza afford transport, maybe unatembea. I swear, like this is reality. Even when you're laughing, this is
The
real.
way you're saying it.
Mtu anatembea kutoka Kibera sijui mpaka Inda.
No, I'm not
You know,
laughing.
it's
a fact though.
the age gap, the gap of the. We talk about inequality. We call it inequality. It's crazy. It's a kind.
Kuna paka nje.
Okay.
There's a kitten outside.
Focus.
Oh, okay.
Because also people
Focus.
maybe they marry so early also, or it's literally this individual is literally living by themselves.
There is that. I feel like marrying early because
And lack of a plan. Lack of a plan is a very bad thing.
because you marry early, you have no finance to take care of your wife.
If you have a plan and you marry early,
Yeah.
okay, well and
But
good.
most didn't have a plan. Let's be honest.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
A lack of a plan is a very big problem. Okay, you're just reacting to external stimuli.
Right.
This happens, tunareacta jibuda. Like you're forever in a reaction state, you're never acting. You're just reacting to the situation as is. You get, which is a very weird and wrong whatever to find yourself in. Mr. But but such factors should be looked into when considering. And I was discussing this issue with a friend of mine, and we were talking about where our parents really fit for parenthood.
They didn't.
And
Let me tell you.
What? Yeah.
where our parents really fit for parenthood. And reason why we were the reason why we were asking that is it's not even from a financial point of view. It's from psychological and emotional nourishment point of view.
Okay.
Like, are we as we are because we sort of grew up with a deficiency of not financial but emotional nourishment?
Availability.
Yeah, our parents were not really
Yeah.
emotionally available. They were not really friendly, but they were friendly, but not. They didn't encourage really per se, especially from like us as boys growing up. Nowadays, boys are told to express yourself. Men's mental health.
Right.
Whatever. The reason why men struggle with that is, or to express themselves is, we never grew up being told this is okay.
That's a fact.
You were a bit. Oh, you were weak if you were actually out here.
Yeah.
Bro, I feel. What you mean you're feeling? Kill that shit. Let's go get some money.
It's true.
You know. And now we have kids. So we were raised in a situation where emotional connection was unavailable.
Facts.
And is that really the right? And then there was that. So this is the analogy I came up with. You can have a jar full of beer or juice or whatever kind of, or water, whatever kind of drink you like, Kool-Aid, whatever. But if the lid is closed and you don't know how to pour it in that cup, you will end up pouring everywhere but in the cup.
Okay.
Okay, so you might have knowledge, know-how, and
yeah.
all that as a parent, but since you don't know how to package it for a smaller container, you will end up doing everything but what you're supposed to do to fill up this cup. So now suddenly you have a child that's grown up. She'll be a jar full of knowledge, and there's an empty jar that doesn't even have enough knowledge to fill a cup, because you poured the knowledge everywhere but in him.
Yeah.
You judged him, you thought pressure would be the whatever, this and that. And we have to understand how to pass knowledge across to the next generation, how to handle younger people. So the question was, where our parents really fit for like parenthood?
I feel like we are the generation that breaks that curse, like literally. Cause I personally, yes, there is a perspective of all that, but also I want to actually be lenient on them because that is what they knew, and that is how they were raised. When I get, because personally I came from, came from a family of disciplinarians, so my dad would discipline people. So ilikuwa kiboko ndio language. Yani utapigwa.
Wewe ndio maana uko hivi.
Yani kiboko ndio ilikuwa.
Hadi homa inakupiga.
Ilikuwa tu kiboko ndio language, you get.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if that is how they showed any small thing to ilikuwa unapigwa, you get. Sometimes punishment yenye ungepea mtu hii ukiangalia uko like that's not for a kid, you get. But also look at it from a perspective of even talking, expressing. Like me, I come from what when you say the people are very expressional. I feel like pia imetoka kwa background zao, they tell people I love you.
Yeah, that's true.
Their moms and stuff. Yeah, I don't know that. Else we never used to say that. Oh my God. It's like if I hear people talk to their moms or their folks like that, I'll be like, you guys express your feelings like that. Unajua, from my place of space, ilikuwa, I don't want to say thug love.
But thug love.
But it was thug love. Yes, unajua unapendwa, lakini si like it's on your face.
Si ati hivyo sana.
It's not on your face. That's what we call emotional, right?
Yeah.
And then also, like even different type of conversations. Some people didn't have some type of conversations with their folks. Like for example, as women, sexual education, or periods and stuff. Wengine zao ziliwapata tu. Walijua, mimi nilijua yangu body. Like literally. So something I was taught hivi na hivi na hivi na hivi. And I believe there is a lot of people who have also experienced that. So personally ukijiuliza mbona walikuwa hivyo? Maybe even they alireziwa kupiga mtu. Even though, because at a high school, before a ban ile kuchapa, was it during Mutua Kilonzo, right? Ndio akatoa punishment. Watu walikuwa napigwa vibaya sana. So najiuliza, na ukiangalia ni walikuwa natufunza wazazi, walimu walikuwa natufunza ni watoto wa wazee kama wazazi wetu. So ukiangalia from that perspective, I feel like that was the way they knew it. Unajua, that was how they were brought up, and there's a perspective of that is how they bring up their kids. Some are good, there are good traits about them. There are also bad traits. But I feel like this younger generation, younger parents were saizi, wamelearn because also time changes. Rules have also changed. Unajua, society has also changed. So unapata some traits that I will actually be raising my kids with, zingine I'll take from my folks, but zingine I'll change. So this is the generation that cuts or breaks that. Because right now unapata younger parents, they're very emotionally available. People are best friends with their kids. Unajua, people are actually very how do we say, expressive. Exactly, with their folks. Their folks are the first people they run to because they've been given that space. But ukiangalia generation, acha tuseme hata kama sisi but hata watu niseme tu sisi na watu kumbele yetu tu kidogo, millennials, unapata ni it's just different. Even when you look at me, I'll compare with my firstborn sister. We have a big age difference, but you can also tell there is venye alireziwa na venye ina reason. It's kind of different. So tukitaweza sema for her itaka weird because she's an older parent. Right. So I wouldn't definitely blame, because sometimes I look at how she does her things or sometimes I see to them
She's
nasikia
more
venye-
strict.
sometimes nakanga chini niko like who even
Disciplinarian.
thinks or if it's not like that, even the way they think,
Yeah.
unajua tu ni kuna
Kwanza umenitrigger.
hivyo venye wanafikiria, kuna tu inakuonyesha, inanikumbusha
Ni uzee.
wazazi.
Ni uzee.
Unajua inanikumbusha wazazi.
Uzee.
Niko like your generation.
Wallahi ni
Your
uzee.
generation si ya saa hii.
Yeah. So
One time I
But
was
it
in
worked in their era.
that's why I'm saying it worked, and we are a generation that one time I was in a car, and then they're having a conversation about wewe bwana kanaweza kubali travel. You know, the way right now people can actually allow, you can actually be in a marriage and still, you know, travel, enjoy your life, sindio? And then they're having old conversations. Ni watu wazae. Ninasema si tuko na vitu mingi za kufanya, unatembeaje bwana kana kubali travel na uko na toy na take care. I'm like, this is a generation where that is very possible, and you don't have to ask your husband for that permission. You just have to be in agreement. Unajua, I don't know. But eti siwezi travel kamle sijui eti nimeolewa ama sijui I can't have my life just because that is the marriage that was there. Wewe kazi yako ni kuchunga watu wako kukaa home.
I didn't say that.
You know.
But chenye umesema ni si lazima uishi permission. Like it depends.
Si eti naenda kukuomba permission eti nikubege eti yeye ni aje naomba.
No, listen, it depends. Every situation is different. Like, let me put it like this. Are you traveling for work? I'd never say no.
Okay.
Right?
Vacation.
Now, you see, that needs planning.
Yeah, it's planned.
Okay, listen. Now, you want to go on vacation
For a week.
for a week. But the week you're supposed to be on vacation, your child is sick. Yet you expect to leave your child who's sick.
Not
and
like
still-
that.
listen.
That's not
No,
like that.
So and I'm giving scenarios
Okay.
that happen.
Okay.
When your husband says you can't, women start throwing tantrums. I booked this vacation, blah, blah, blah. You know, they start whatever's. But can you travel? Yes.
You see, because
But-
you're a younger
But
generation.
we need to. It's not. Women like doing these things off
What
the
things?
whim. Okay,
Tell
like
us.
I want to do this right now. Okay, I'm just
Show me that.
right now. It takes a lot of time to be able to do things right now. That's something people never understand. We can't just do things right now. That's how you end up broke with nothing to live for your kids. Unless you come from generational wealth, doing things right now takes time.
Okay, true.
I have saved enough for this.
Fine. Atujakata. Can you call and postpone? Yes. Do
Yeah.
so.
Yes, you can if there is a but
Do
sisi
so.
bwanaka anakwambia usiende juu. Mwanamke ukienda huko sijui utata. Like
Yes.
bad perspectives, old mentality.
Wait, let me tell you this. Kuna mademu wanataka kuamka alafu mlikuwa mshapanga mnaenda dinner. Jioni unarudi kwa nyumba anakuambia kodi yake. Saa
Wow.
rather a friend of mine
Wewe si bibi yako.
mimi sijasema bibi. Hata nimetumia the correct word. Mdemu wa mtu over plan kumtreat and she might not even be cheating. So
Okay, yes.
it's like dem beshte yake. Right? Just pulls up and then she's super available. Like nimekuweka wewe unakaanga hapo tu unakulanga na unanona na unakuwa light skin.
Really? What?
Na get yani una watching tu TV. Nakula pesa yangu. Nangoja tu driver mmoja wako akula pesa.
Wow. And also there's this phrase that says that whatever you give the most in relationships or a partnership is what you really lacked whilst growing up.
Oh yeah. Or
Whatever love language you really seek.
exactly, and even that, the parent you
Yes.
become is the parent you really, really wanted when you were growing up.
Yes.
Because-
Also that.
And because what you're trying to really not repeat is what you felt like they offended you by. Okay, like I didn't feel like they did this right by me, so I will do that right with mine.
Yeah.
You get, and I feel like that's one formula to kill like generational trauma. Like just try be better. Because at some point you have to. And I would yes, triggered again. I remember Nikikuja Leo. This is how this older generation is just sick in the head now. Sir, it is a disease.
Really?
It needs curing. You
What
need
happens?
to figure out. So mimi niko tu hapo just feeling nice. Not really gonna deal na hali nyingine mbaya. And I was pissed. So like I've never just been dealing with a hangi and you're just pissed for no reason in the morning. My head is pounding. I'm like not a squat and like a lot. So kuna udonda wa hizi matatu za blue za huku. Then this woman who was just talking way too much and way too loudly kama yeye ndio pastor wa gari.
Okay.
Cheer. This donda they start discussing maandamano. And this person says ati unafikiria watu wanaendanga hizo vitu ni watu wazuri. I'm like, so that's what you really think, huh? That's your thought about maandamano. Like, you don't understand that it's your right to voice your. You think what to end up with, like that's your. Are there elements of wrong people in there? Yeah, probably like you, who think like you. You are the problem. Like, but don't aspiria with an oppression mindset. Like,
Yeah.
I want to do me.
Oppressed.
Like you've been subjugated for so long, they don't need to do it anymore. You do it to yourself. Okay, and it's they need therapy. By the way, yes, get out of church, go for therapy.
Not understanding like it's an awakening.
Yeah,
Really.
toka kanisa, enda therapy. The church will not help you with the mental sicknesses that you have, because the older generation is sick, and they don't even know that they have mental
Some of
wonder. No, most of them. And it's not wrong to say that you need help to deal with your mental issues. Because some of them, when you hear such an argument, you see repression, you see undealt trauma, you see there are so many red flags that just pop up. Because so somebody voicing, so how do you run your family? There's a dictatorship. So your wife cannot tell you that you did wrong here. That's how you run your family. That's how you think you'll create a healthy family. No.
They're there though.
Listen, and look at their families. Look at their families. Okay? In the wale watu, these are the fathers that watoto yao wasichana hata watokangi nje.
Yeah.
Sawa. Kanaenda first year kanarudi na mimba, second year mimba ingine, third year mimba ingine. Every time kanarudi akimletea watoto. You know why? You never taught her how to deal with men without getting penetrated. Like how to be friends with men. So every guy that is friendly with her, ni chubui. You get, hata kama ni, and I've seen it, like, I think we used to make jokes about it. She was a good girl though, just really, really unexposed. And Joby keeps talking about exposure. Okay? Like, exposure is important.
Very.
Like, especially in the formative years of teenagehood. Like, she needs to know how to learn how to say no.
Right.
Right? Like, and then I feel like nature, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but the rhetoric is that when girls are growing their mammary glands, that it's painful. It is nature telling you, siguzwe have, you get what I mean? Like, don't do that. It's painful right now. It's not your time. You get, that's why even breaking your virginity is painful. Like, it's not your time. When you're ready for it, trust me, you will be happy it's gone. At your 15, gang, what you doing? You're 19 with, I saw this lady say she has 10,000 bodies and she's 27. 10,000 bodies. What the hell? Tubonge, so Tubonge, by the way, like, what the hell? She's 27 with 10,000 bodies.
That's crazy.
And that's something that comes all the way from, like, how do you parent? What kind of parenting systems do we use? And when we have a mentality of dictatorship, because you can see it and you can hear it in the older generation, they don't understand that you can have discussions with your child without it being disrespectful. They can voice their concerns.
And it's okay.
You get, and you don't have to go like, "What's the trend in Kuza?"
There's that thing? Yeah.
Yeah. Unajua, mimi ni mama yako.
I used to, I don't know.
Mimi baba yako.
I've told this to my stepdad.
Yeah.
To Buddha Tefin,
Yeah.
like, should have wrapped your shitty ass, whatever. Wache kuzaa watoto wengi so that you can pay for school fees. So I remember when my dad used to tell me that, I've been very tempted. Kumwambia, you should have worn a condom.
God,
You didn't have the right to.
alikuambia
I
hiyo.
didn't. No, I used to think about it. Like, ukiambiwa nimekuzaa hiyo.
Eh,
Nimekuzaa. Because me, I used to
ungenyonga
talk.
msee.
Me, I used to talk. Me, you're not gonna tell me you're wrong, bro. Me, I'm gonna call you out. So I used to hate that. I used to really hate that. Like, oh, John Mekuzaa, you're supposed to be respectful. What? Ungeva a condom respectfully.
Respect begets
So because I couldn't tell him, I
respect.
got the guts to tell it to my stepdad. Like, yo, bro, Kondiko is very cheap. School fees is expensive.
God damn! Ati nini?
Pick a struggle, man.
Ati kondiko ni.
Cheap.
Very cheap.
Yeah.
God damn. But yeah, what are your closing remarks towards today's conversation?
Mine is, I think people just need to change their mindset. I feel everything we've talked about is just all about mindset, you know. It all goes back to mindset. If you want to live a good life, it's all about your mindset. Do you really want to live a good life? And if you want to, you'll go for it. You'll find means and ways of just utajipata, utapata connections.
Yeah.
If you really want, if you have the drive, you know, the kind of people you want to be surrounded with, the life you want to live, the career you want to do, everything is gonna come literally to you so long as you keep on pushing. Not being comfortable, uko mahali unavuta mashada kungoja 250 bob ya kakwota ama sijui ya keg, alafu uko like saja siku gani? Hata anakuuliza saja, hata anakuuliza wewe siku gani, ndio utajituma lini na ngojeanga, you know. So like, you know, change your mindset. Change your mindset. Expose yourself. Literally, it's very important. I've learned that at a very young age as well. Surround yourself with people who are really outgoing. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
There's a time maybe you to chill, but maybe believe I'm a very outgoing person. So long as I may chill, I'm just I love adventures, and that's one thing that made me understand the kind of person I wanna be, what I wanna be surrounded with, the life I wanna live. Because you meet different people with different mindsets, different ideas, and you listen to people who have also different type of reasonings and which is kusaidia in future. Because me, I borrow some of the words I used to hear back then and I apply them today and they really work for me. So, and also be patient with yourself, you know, don't rush. Life haina haraka. You know, take one step at a time. Be proud of the steps you're making as well, so long as you're pushing. But kama uko hapo nde, shauri yako, your life na kungoja.
Utaachwa nde.
Utakufa nde.
My closing remarks is don't accept comfortability in any way. Kama umetoka Ocha, hiyo kenye ilikutoa Ocha, endelea tu kuwa na hiyo same motive. If you're also in the city, please don't be those kids who wait for their parents to die and they wachukue shamba. Just continue hustling. Let the motive always drive you, literally. That's my problem.
For me, is never forget where you're coming from and never forget where you're going. And where there's a will, there's a way. Much love.
I think to add on also what Shmania said literally about generational wealth, there's something attractive about you just making out of your kujitengenezea kuliko kutegemea wazazi. You know, there's just, I don't know, personally I do feel proud if I hear someone say, this is not from my folks. Like, this is me nimejitengeneza. Like, my folks have their own thing going and all that, but yeah, so there's something about just you making it on your own.
By yourself.
So yeah, push it and keep it going.
My closing remark is you're doing great. Okay? You're doing great. Whatever it is that you've planned, whatever it is that you're working on, you're doing great. And no matter the bad days, you're doing great. Just never walk backwards, just keep moving forward, because the secret to success is very simple. Consistency. Okay, show up even when you don't want to.
It's true. Consistency.
Even when you don't want to. It doesn't matter that one day you take a quarter of a step or no steps, just marching on the same whatever. Another day you'll take 100 steps, 10 steps. So just stay consistent.
And remember, no one owes you anything.
Yeah, just stay consistent. As long as that happens, success is literally a matter of time. So chill out, be kind to yourself. Inhale. Be kind to yourself. So
Inhale.
ciao. This is Tubonge, brought to you by the Black Road Fire Network, with the best panel in the business, SH with the money plans, JOBY,
Yes.
and the lovely Iwaton,
So much love and light.
with myself. God bless.